father, an ethnologist, tasked him with delivering a stone tablet to a woman on the island he's currently visiting. As Godu strolls through the island's streets, he encounters a blonde girl who speaks to him in a different language. She unexpectedly draws a knife. Godu attempts to communicate, and when she realizes he speaks another language, the girl begins to speak Japanese. She requests him to hand over the grimoire he possesses, as he is a knight of the Black Copper Cross. Godu states that he cannot give it to her, but at that very moment, they both hear a loud roar. When he turns to look, he sees a giant monster, and the girl tells him that it is a heretic god, leaving Godu astonished by the situation. The girl quickly runs off to try and stop the god, and meets up with her partner Ariana, who picks her up in the car. She gets as close as she can and climbs onto a roof, telling us her name is Erica Blandelli. Suddenly, she uses a power to summon a sword, ready to face the god, though she knows he's powerful. Godu tries desperately to escape, but trips, dropping the grimoire. When he rises, he sees a boy holding it. He asks who he is, and the boy says he's the victorious one, reviving the ancient ones, gods and kings, to confront them. Listening to him speak, Godu realizes that it is as if he were talking to his grandfather, but after handing him the grimoire, this boy disappears. After fighting for a while with the god, Erica sees the difference in power between them, and after a blow she is thrown through the air. Before falling to the ground, she is caught by Godu, who was watching the fight from afar, and when they see the god, he disappears in a tornado. After a while, they both go to the island's train station, and Erica explains to her that the heretic gods are the ones who bring chaos to the earth, but being gods, they can only be seen by those with magical powers, since to other people, they only look like disasters. Erica asks him how he did not know this before if he had such a powerful grimoire in his hands, but Godu clarifies that he only came there to deliver it to Lucretia alone. Erica quickly identifies her as the Great Witch of Sardinia and is shocked she would entrust such a significant grimoire to a Japanese man. Noticing the train hasn't arrived yet, Erica suggests they leave in her car, which Godu agrees to. Upon reaching Lucretia's house, a cat welcomes them and inquires about their identity. Erica informs the cat they're there to deliver something from Kusa to Nagi Ichiru, solely for Lucretia. When she hears her name, she lets them in, and Godu is surprised to find she's quite young, given she was a friend of his grandfather. She tells him the grimoire they gave her is Prometheus's, but requests they take it back, as it only draws the wrong crowd. She inquires if Godu has met anyone before, and he recalls meeting a boy who spoke oddly. Lucretia decides to give him the grimoire, but hesitates. Erica reminds him he has no magic and can't use it. However, Lucretia clarifies it's God's wish for Godu to have it, as coincidences are part of destiny. The kids choose to stay the night, so Erica and Ariana start drinking wine and overindulge. When Erica can't handle it anymore, Godu takes her to his room. Mistaking him for Ariana, she asks him to remove her dress so she can sleep. Somewhat nervously, Godu removes her clothes and then tries to leave the place. But when he tries to open the door, he notices that it is locked and must stay there sleeping. The next day, as soon as Erica wakes up and sees Godu in the room, she beats him awake, thinking he went too far with her. Godu tries to explain to her, but at that instant they notice that a strange rain with lots of thunder started, and Erica decides to go out to see what is going on. Outside, they come to understand that it's a god causing this, and Erica identifies him as Melgar. Melgar notices another god attacking, so she decides to proceed with this battle, knowing that if she doesn't, the island will be destroyed. They start following them in the car, and there they spot the other god, whom Godu identifies as Baritragna, the ancient Persian warrior and god of light. Just before the gods begin their battle, Erica intervenes and asks them to stop fighting. They don't take it well, and Baritragna, feeling offended, starts attacking her with lightning bolts. Although she tries to dodge them all, she has no way out, and when she is about to receive a lightning bolt, Godu jumps in and knocks her out of the way. He approaches Melgar and asks him to ally with him, since he has the power of the white horse that belongs to Beret. Ragna explains to him that if he protects them, then Baritragna will not be able to complete herself, something that Melgar doubts, but ends up accepting the proposal. Baritragna, seeing the situation, realizes that he was right to give the grimoire back to Godu, but allying himself with his enemy, he attacks him with a Yusin lightning bolt. However, This is repelled by a divine shield of protection placed on them by Melgar. This causes Baratragna to use another ability, and after summoning a golden sword, he attacks them again. But this time the sword begins to break through the barrier. Erika realizes that she has heard of that sword before, and that it can cut divinity, so she asks Godot to run away. But he lets her know that she is supposed to guard the grimoire and can't leave without using it. Erika mentions to him that if a human uses it, then he would die instantly, but Godot replies that if he doesn't use it, he will die anyway. When Baratragna destroys the barrier, Godot uses the power of the grimoire to attack him and steals the power of the golden sword. He then asks Erika how he can cut Baratragna's divinity, so she approaches him and kisses him. At that instant the power of the sword is released, and after thousands of golden swords come out, one of them hits Baratragna, eliminating him instantly. In another scene we are made to see that Epimetheus and Pandora were the ones who planned everything that is happening. Because the sacred birth of a non-legitimate child between a fool, one witch would create a right of usurpation that is only possible through of the sacrifice of a god. We are made to see that when the conditions are met, Godot will be reborn as a Campione, who is the slayer of gods and king of kings. A week after Godot defeated Beret, Ragna became the center of attention and was forced to test his abilities against others. He wakes up at home, and when he sees the time he quickly gets ready to go to class. But while getting dressed, he notices that Erika is lying on his bed without any clothes on. He asks her to put on some clothes, and then they go down to the dining room. There they meet her sister, Shizuka Kusanagi. She asks him about his relationship with Erika, and Godot tries to explain that he doesn't know how her attitude changed from one moment to the next. Erika clarifies that what happens is that he doesn't want to accept her love, because he must remember the kiss they had while they were in Italy, something that doesn't please Shizuka, because Godot didn't tell her about it before taking her home. After a while, Godot goes to class and recalls the battle with Baratragna. Erika had explained that her kiss gave him the key to unlock the golden sword. While he remembers, a classmate mentions a new Italian girl student. He reacts and realizes it's Erika when the teacher introduces her. After introducing himself, he makes it clear to all the students that he has already pledged his love to someone else, and then points to Godot. She sits next to him, and when she tries to mention the things she likes most about him, Godot gets up from his seat and takes her by the hand to lead her out of the classroom. However, when they are outside, they realize that he has the wrong person, and there the girl introduces herself as Yuri Maria. After class, Godot goes home with Yuri and apologizes for the incident. She assures him there's no need to apologize. Instead, she feels she should apologize to him, as she wants to avoid the king's wrath. Suddenly, Amakazu from the committee for the compilation of the true story interrupts them. They head to a nearby temple, where Amakazu explains they are the government branch handling magic-related individuals in Japan. He asks her not to bother with Yuri, as he was the one who asked her to make contact with the seventh king, all because he wanted to talk to him about Erika and the Black Copper Cross. After Godot arrives home, he goes to his room where he remembers everything he told Makazu. Makazu mentions to him that maybe Erika approached him just to make him join the Black Copper Cross when she saw that he became a champion. At that instant, she appears at his side, and he asks her to tell him if she is looking for something else, because he doesn't think she is trying to seduce someone he doesn't even like. She is surprised by his reaction, and asks him to spend the day together to show him how she really feels. Godot is surprised as she decided to take him to Italy again, and it is not what he expected when he says they will spend the day together. As he waits for Erika to come back from a meeting, a girl shows up and informs him that she wants to take the snake, so they can prevent a direct confrontation. Godot explains that he has no plans to fight, and that he knows nothing about the other champions. In response, the girl accuses him of lying, because if he disliked fighting, he wouldn't be able to become a god killer. Sos Eos suddenly vanishes, which leaves Godot shocked. But just then, Erika arrives. She scares him by being distracted. She arrives with some people from the Society of Magic of Italy, who insisted on meeting him and seeing how strong he is. To prove it, she uses her powers and starts attacking him using her sword. Despite his doubts, Godot begins to use the power of the 10 avatars granted to him by Baratragna, and with this, he begins to repel all attacks. After provoking Erika, Godot uses the avatar of the boar and destroys everything in its path, but she manages to dodge it. She mentions that he can only use the avatars once a day, so he must think carefully when to use them. But he takes advantage of the moment of distraction to pounce on her, and after subduing her, he asks her to give him the victory. Erica lets him know that, although it wasn't the best way, she accepts her defeat, because with that, she passed her test. Godot takes advantage of the moment to ask her to clarify what she wants, and she lets him know that she is really in love with him. As a very proud woman, she refused to let anyone dictate what she could or couldn't do, leaving Godot utterly speechless. Because of this, she presents him with an object resembling a medal, shaped like a snake. The following morning, Godot heads to class and encounters Yuri, who requests to meet him during the break on the rooftop. Once the time arrives, Godot meets Yuri, and she reveals that she has some information. She believes he brought the Gorgoneon with him from Italy and wishes to confirm it. This leaves Godot feeling puzzled, so Yuri explains further, clarifying that he is actually a divine instrument, rumored to bring danger to the world. Although he hasn't seen it himself, he knows it resembles a medal with a snake design on it, likely made of stone. At that moment, he retrieves it from his pocket and hands it to her, while explaining that Erica gave it to him during their time in Italy. However, he mistakenly thought it was just a gift. Realizing the circumstances, Yuri makes it clear to him that he must take the situation seriously, as it is a dangerous thing. She explains that Japan could become the main point of the prophecy. After class, they go to Yuri's house, and she tells him that when a certain god regains his true form, the starless night will cover the skies. Along with this, the world will be dragged into the underworld. This would be the prophecy that was formulated by Princess Alice, who ascended to the highest ranks of heaven. She also tells him that the Gorgoneon is actually a serpent, a physical manifestation of a Gorgon's power. It is said to transform an ancient goddess into a powerful and vengeful being. Godot asks him why he doesn't simply destroy it, but Yuri informs him that it is not possible, since it is protected by extremely powerful magic. At that moment, Erica shows up and expresses her gratitude to Yuri for informing Godot about everything. She then requests Yuri to use his sixth sense to determine if he can perceive any signals or warnings emanating from the Gorgoneon, since a global catastrophe is on the horizon. Yuri agrees to give it a try, and upon touching the Gorgoneon, he experiences a vision. In this vision, he encounters a youthful goddess with silver hair, who introduces herself as Athena. Upon hearing this revelation, Erica and Godot decide to head back to the city to search for Athena. As they find themselves on one of the rooftops, Athena suddenly appears before them. From them, she informs them that she is in search of the Gorgoneon and warns that anyone who stands in her way will become her enemy. Once she understands that it is not in their possession, she begins to attack them. However, Erica skillfully deflects the attack using her power. Athena successfully traps Erica within a barrier and then materializes in front of Godot. She expresses regret for her upcoming actions, yet states that she desires to witness what his destiny holds, and then she kisses him. Afterwards, she speaks to Godot, and he staggers. Athena is shocked because despite her words of power, he remains conscious. But soon, Godot collapses. Athena tells him she'll cut a piece of his corpse to prevent his power use. Just then, Erica breaks the barrier and attacks Athena, defending Godot. Seeing the difference in powers, Erica uses an ace up her sleeve and manages to lock Athena with her ability, enough to escape with Godot. Meanwhile, it is Yuri who has the Gorgoneon, as she tries to seal it with magic so that it will not be used by Athena. But when she is on her way, she is intercepted by Liliana. Krenkar demands her to hand over the Gorgoneon. Yuri makes it clear that he can't give it to her because he must seal it as soon as possible, while Erica and Godot delay Athena. Liliana tells him his seal is useless against a god, and if he doesn't hand it over, she'll take it by force. Just then, Amikazu shows up in his car, creates a barrier around Liliana, and escapes with Yuri. Later, Godot wakes up on Erica's lap, realizing he died again, but was revived by the ram's avatar. Erica praises him, noting he only took 2.5 hours to return, showing he's gradually mastering the ram's power. Godot asks him where Athena is, and Erica explains that she must be looking for the Gorgoneon, so it won't be long before she finds it. He mentions to her that she has two choices: let Athena regain her true form and destroy the world, or make whoever has the power to resist oppose her. She makes him see that he has the decision in his hands, and Godot realizes that in order to confront him, he would have to use the power of the golden sword. Erica explains to him that in order to use the sword, he has to learn all the information about Athena, and if he were to tell her in words, it would take -100 days. So they have no choice but to use the method they used the first time, to transmit the information through a passionate kiss. They begin to kiss, while Godot learns all the information about Athena. But they are interrupted when they see that she began to darken the sky of the city. Both decide to go with Ariana in search of Athena, and while they are in the car they receive a call from Yuri, who informs them that it has been impossible to seal the Gorgoneon. Godot asks him that if Athena goes to look for the Gorgoneon, they should run away from the place, because he does not want anything to happen to them, and he will think of something to solve it. But Yuri clarifies that he will not leave the place without doing anything. So Godot asks him that if something happens, he should think of him as much as possible, and then he could get to where Yusund is. When Athena arrives where Yuri is, Yuri tries to defend himself with a barrier. However, Athena manages to destroy it easily, and asks him to give her the Gorgoneon. Seeing that Yuri does not want to give in to her request, she attacks her. But at that moment, Liliana appears and stops the attack with her sword. The difference in power is so great that both Liliana and Yuri go flying through the air. Yuri tries to get up and realizes that he dropped the Gorgoneon, but as soon as he sees where Athena is, she takes it. This makes Athena summon her real power and transforms to get all her power. Yuri, almost about to faint, mentions to her that she still has to defeat someone, and after shouting Godot's name, he appears to catch her before she falls to the ground. This surprises Athena, as she knows Godot was able to revive after using his words of power on him. Yuri is happy to see him, but starts coughing and lets Tina know that she was bathed with his wind of death as soon as she transformed. Yusund Erika mentions to Godot that that was the technique that killed him earlier, so he asks her to use his golden sword to save her. Godot summons the golden sword, and after using the words of power, he manages to free Yuri from the poison. He sets out to defeat Athena at all costs, and seeing her change of attitude, Erika is happy about this. Before he fights, she kisses him again to give him the knowledge he lacked, while Yuri is surprised to see him. Upon completing all his knowledge of Athena, Godot unleashes the full power of the golden sword and begins to fight her. Athena begins to attack him, but Godot repels all attacks and takes a moment to run away from her. When Athena thinks he is running away, she invokes the snakes to corner him. It is at that moment that Godot clarifies that he was not going to run away, but only wanted him to invoke the snakes to destroy them first, while he tells Athena his whole story using his words of power. Using before power, Athena has no choice but to cover herself from the attacks of the golden swords with a divine barrier. But this is broken by a large number of attacks from Godot, who thanks to his power manages to cut Athena's divinity, stripping her of her power. However, after this, Athena still maintains her true form and begins to attack Godot with her scythe. This message tells her he understands his power comes from the god Varadragna and knows how it functions. Overwhelmed by Athena's combat strength, Godot calls forth the avatar of the white horse to shoot a beam of light skyward. Athena conjures a shield to block the lightning, successfully halting it and winning the fight. But Godot seizes Athena's distraction and takes Erika's spear, capable of harming gods. He throws it through Athena, which makes her unable to keep her shield up, and she is hit by the power of Godot's white horse. When he sees where his power hit, he sees Athena in her normal form. She asks him to finish her off, but Godot asks him to leave the country and leave it at that. This leaves Ten surprised, to whom he tells him that he is a strange man, but he will engrave her name in his heart. Erika questions her, asking why she went through all that effort and then withdrew, which surprises Godot. He asks if she knew everything that was going to happen. She tells him that it was all part of the plan, because by fighting in Japan, no other champion could interfere, allowing him to claim Athena's divine rights for himself. Godot inquires if she wasn't concerned about the world coming to an end, but she explains she wasn't worried because she had confidence that he would emerge victorious. Days later, Godot finds himself in the classroom with Erika sitting on his lap. At that moment, Yuri arrives, who scolds Godot for being such a pervert at school, since it is a place of learning. He also claims Erika for behaving in such a disgraceful way, but she clarifies that both her body and her sword belong to Godot. This leads to a rivalry between the two for Godot's attention, and after school, Erika takes advantage of baseball practice to challenge Joe. Feeling envious of her, Yuri accepts the challenge. Erika explains that she will throw 3 balls, and Yuri only needs to hit 1 to win. After Erica throws the first ball, Godot, who is the catcher, notices Yuri's very slow reaction. He tries to assist her by warning when she should attempt to hit the ball. However, when Yuri tries to do so, she accidentally ends up hitting Godot instead. After the game, the guys meet for lunch and Yuri offers them a meal he prepared for both of them. Erica asks him what she wants to look for with Godot and what she is looking for with this treatment towards him. Yuri explains that she is just trying to be a good princess priestess for him and help him in any way she can. Erica asks him if he has a phone, because if so, she could communicate more with Godot and help him more. This makes Yuri feel nervous, as she believes he is suggesting he wants something more with Godot, so she quickly runs out of the place. He then asks Erica what she is planning, and she explains that Yuri's sixth sense will be quite beneficial for him, so she believes he should pursue his own. But he clarifies that it will involve only her and Yuri, and no one else, because if they bring in more girls, he won't forgive him. After school, Godot accompanies Yuri to buy a phone so they can communicate more. However, Yuri notices that someone is watching them, and we are shown that outside the place is Liliana watching them from afar. After buying the phone, Godot spends time trying to teach Yuri how to use it, so that Yuri can communicate with him if he needs anything. That night, when he gets home, Godot receives a call from another champion named Salvatore Dani. Godot asks him how he got her number, and he replies that it's normal for him to have his best friend's number. Godot clarifies to him that they are not friends, and Salvatore replies that such a thought is very bad of him after they fought a battle to the death. Godot asks him not to bother him and warns him that he will hang up on him. But first, Salvatore asks him if he knows the Hamstall Bob. Godot tells him no, but Salvatore tells him that he is an important old man who has hundreds of wolves. Under his command, he possesses numerous other powers, and the most significant aspect is that he is presently residing in Japan. This means they will inevitably have to engage in battle. This revelation takes Godot by surprise, prompting him to abruptly end the call. Athena alone is not sufficient, yet now he must confront another Campione. In a different scene, we witness Yuri being abducted by Liliana and taken to her master, Sasha, from Hamstall Bob. Sasha expresses that he has been feeling quite bored since Athena's departure, leaving him without anyone to challenge. Therefore, he requires Yuri's assistance, emphasizing the necessity of her help to alleviate his boredom. He wants her to summon a heretic god to fight against. Because of this, from now on, she will become his property and will help him to fulfill his wishes. The next day, after receiving no answer from Yuri, Godot decides to go with Erica to the temple where she lives. There he meets Amikazu, who tells him that she was apparently kidnapped by Sasha, who is known as the Demon King of Eastern Europe. Erica is surprised by this news and says that she finds what is happening quite surprising. Amikazu tells her that he has an idea of why this has happened, as Yuri has met Sasha before and therefore asks for their help without hesitation. 1S Godot offers to look for her regardless of Erica's doubts, knowing the strong opponent she is facing, 2009. He mentions to her that the day before he received a call from Salvatore, and Salvatore told him that this was the opportunity. The vision is perfect for him to fight against Sasha. He comments that he must fight him alone, but Erica lets him know that she will not let him have a fight with the Duke without her. In another scene, we see Yuri remembering Sasha's request, because when he proposed to revive a heretic god, she flatly refused, because her duty is to protect the country, and she could not invoke a god that will only cause chaos. Yus and Sasha questions her about resisting his request, and Yuri responds by saying she would prefer to give her life to him rather than comply. He remarks that her choice is both brave and foolish. Consequently, he uses his power to summon several deceased servants to attack her. At that moment, she starts having a vision about him and mentions that his power originates from Osiris, the Egyptian ruler of death. This surprises Sasha, and so he makes the decision to let her live, as it wasn't a mistake to choose her in the first place. On the other hand, Godot and Erica arrive at the residence where Sasha is, but they are greeted by dead servants who attack them. After defeating most of them, one of the servants summons a giant golem to stop them. Although Godot decides to use the boar avatar to defeat it, Erica asks him not to, since being a servant there is always a way to defeat it. She finds his weak point, and after attacking him, they can finally destroy him to continue on their way. Meanwhile, Liliana, who is next to Yuri, tells him that Godot entered the Duke's base, so she thinks that he has arrived to try to fight against him. Godot and Erica continue to go inside to look for Sasha, so she tries to eliminate all the servants. She comments to him that he must save his divine rights to fight Sasha, since among the champions, he says that he would be the most powerful of them all. This does not deter Godot, and so they both continue on their way in search of the Duke. When they reach the room where Sasha is, he asks him to introduce himself, as he does not know him. Godot introduces himself to him and mentions that he is there to get his friend back, so he asks if Yuri is all right. Seeing his intentions, Sasha mentions that if that's what he's looking for, he's wasting his time, since Yuri belongs to him. He tells her that she is an exceptionally rare and valuable possession, one that he encountered 4 years ago. He makes it clear to her that if he wishes to negotiate in the same manner as he did back then, he should have brought adequate compensation. Godot is surprised by the proposal, yet Sasha clarifies that she is merely seeking a priestess to invoke a god, or perhaps just a god to challenge. Erica speaks to Godot and mentions that she should consider following the suggestion made by her friend Salvatore. This captures Sasha's attention, and she seizes the moment to introduce herself, making it clear that she is the heir of the Blander family. She proceeds to inform him that Godot and Salvatore engaged in a duel, which concluded in a draw. Impressed by each other's skills, they grew closer. Due to this, the day prior, Salvatore proposed that she should have a match against Duke Sasha, aiming to demonstrate to the elders the drawbacks that come with age. Even though Godot attempts to deny it, Sasha becomes increasingly frustrated with the situation and directly questions him, asking if he was actually the one responsible for murdering Athena. Godot responds by saying that he did not murder her. Instead, he claims that he defeated her and forced her to leave the country to prevent her from causing further chaos. Sasha then tells him that he had planned to hunt her down, and adds a comment about how, years ago, he tried to eliminate a heretic god, but Salvatore stole it from him. In the current time, it is once again his friend Godot who takes his prey away, which he perceives as a significant humiliation. This bothers him so much that he desires her head, but the Duke, being a kind king, will give her the opportunity to choose, and at that moment he makes Yuri appear with Liliana. Sasha proposes him to make a game between champions, where he must take Yuri and hide wherever he wants. If he can avoid him until dawn, then he would win the game, so he will give him an advantage of 30 men. While they go in the car fleeing, Erica reminds Godot that nothing will be solved if he does not face Sasha. This is clear to him, and so he asks her if there isn't someone who has enough information about Sasha to be able to use his power and destroy his divine rights. But she replies that the only ones who have investigated him started doing so long after he became a god killer. Yuri interrupts them and asks them to leave her, because the Duke only wants her, and if she comes back to him everything will be solved. That way no one will get hurt, because the Duke only wants her to be a god killer. She assists him with a ritual. Erica interrupts and accuses her of being a liar, pointing out that the ritual she performed 4 years ago gained significant fame. During that time, she managed to sacrifice 30 people just to summon a god named Usand. Most of the people present suffered from severe psychological issues. The only reason Yuri survived back then could be attributed to her exceptional talent or perhaps sheer luck, so there's no assurance that she will remain unharmed this time. Yuri informs them that there is no other option, but just then, an alarm goes off, and Ariana notes that the 30 minutes the Duke allowed them have already elapsed. Suddenly, Erica notices some wolves chasing after them, and urges Ariana to speed up so 2009 doesn't catch up. Even though Yuri tells her to leave her behind, Godot insists they won't, as he plans to defeat Duke Sasha. He comments that if her friend needs help, he won't hesitate to reach out to her, and then hands her his phone back to her. Seeing that the wolves are already catching up with them, Erica asks Ariana to leave them in an open place. They arrive at the compilation committee building and the wolves catch up with them, so Erica starts to fight them so that Godot will keep his powers. After Erica manages to defeat all the wolves amidst a whirlwind, Sasha appears. He directly questions Godot, asking if he is ready to face defeat. Godot, however, confidently responds that he will not lose this battle. Sasha then summons a multitude of servants, warriors of great renown from their eras. Erica understands that overcoming them will be challenging, so Godot chooses to launch an attack by summoning the avatar of the White Horse. This action incinerates many of the servants, yet as he approaches Sasha, Sasha transforms into a werewolf, absorbing the horse's flames entirely. The boys are taken aback by the situation, while Sasha taunts Godot, questioning if that's all the strength he possesses. The man who battled Salvatore shows Godot that he could counter his attack, but warns that doing so would also result in Yuri's death. Therefore, he plans to send his servants to finish the task. Godot considers using a different avatar, but hesitates upon realizing he is unaware of his opponent 2009's capabilities. For this reason, she uses the hunting bird avatar to escape with Yuri, and before that tells Erika to regroup somewhere else. After fighting for a while longer, Erika uses her powers to try to escape from the servants. After finishing off those she encounters. During her escape, Erika meets Liliana. Liliana tells her that it is not normal for her to run away from fights, so she will put an end to it to have a duel. On the other hand, when Godu arrives to a safe place with Yuri, he suffers for using his hunting bird ability for so long. Yuri tries to cure him with his powers, but this does not affect Godu, and he explains that his body is not affected by normal magic. The only exception is when the magic is injected directly into him, which causes Yuri to remember the kiss he gave him. Erika realizes that this was what she was doing at the time, and seeing that she can't help Godu with magic, she mentions to him that her mother used to do this when she was a little girl to soothe her ailments. 2001. When Godo's pain calms down a little, he tells Yuri that they must first take care of the wolf that Sasha uses. Yuri tells him that he doesn't know what that was, but at that moment he has a vision through his sixth sense, where he sees what the transformation is due to. Godu notices this and tries to ask her what she saw, but at that instant, they are interrupted by Amikazu, who arrives to warn them that Erika is in danger. While Erika struggles, she asks Liliana why she serves the Duke of her own free will, as she knows her well and knows that she would not accept anything easily. Liliana replies that it is all her fault, since after she seduced Godu, her grandfather forced her to become the wife of a king, so she returns to the Duke's house. They're about to attack her, but Yuri interrupts, asking them to stop. She reminds Liliana that 4 years ago they both suffered due to the Duke's selfishness, and now she's helping him, which is unacceptable. Yuri invites her to join them, as Godu would welcome her, but Liliana refuses to switch sides. Suddenly, a large sign is blown by strong winds toward Yuri, but Liliana intervenes and destroys it before it hits her. Yuri expresses his gratitude to him, but Liliana responds by saying that he hasn't done anything to earn her thanks. She explains that he is a proud gentleman who would never alter his loyalty, so he charges at Erika once more. However, just before striking her, Erika starts to recite some lines that are very familiar to Liliana, causing Liliana to pause. She inquires how Erika knows about the novel she wrote, and Erika tells her that if she values their friendship from this point forward, she will forget the contents of that notebook she read. Liliana threatens to eliminate her, but Erika makes it clear that if she does, then everyone could read it in her will, and this makes her desist from continuing the battle. Godo asks Yuri to share what he saw about the Duke thanks to his sixth sense with Erika. When the Duke tries to send his wolves to look for the boys, Godo appears again and tells him that it is no longer necessary for him to look for them. Sasha is taken aback when he sees Liliana with Godo and the girls, prompting him to ask if she has switched allegiances. She responds that she is officially stepping down from her position, and Godo makes it clear that he won't allow her to harm any of the girls. Sasha points out that he is quite naive for caring about them. Then she transforms back into a werewolf to launch an attack on him. Just before the fight starts, Erika comes up to Godo and kisses him to convey the information she has about the Duke. Thanks to this, Godu is able to use his golden sword to fight Apollo. Seeing the full activation of the golden sword, the Duke is impressed, so he sends his wolves to attack Y. They are eliminated by the swords created by Godo, and Sasha realizes that his ability can destroy the divine right of a god. Still, he decides to attack Godo, but Godo pierces him with a spear made from all the golden swords. This leaves Sasha hurt, but after healing, he smiles and asks Godo if his power can destroy divine rights that do not belong to Apollo. At that moment, he raises several of his servants to continue the fight against Godo. Erika and Liliana begin to defend him from the servants, while Yuri laments that he cannot help them. Suddenly, Yuri again sees a vision with his sixth sense, and there he sees where Apollo's abilities come from. So he asks Godo to use his sword again, since Apollo and Osiris share a very similar divinity. Godo does not hesitate to do so and activates the power of his sword. However, it does not activate in the right way. Sasha realizes that this is the weakness that Godo's power has, as his divine right has restrictions. Erika explains to Yuri that Godo does not have enough knowledge about Osiris, which leaves only one option for her. Seeing their predicament, Yuri must run to Godot and kiss him to transfer her knowledge. With enough understanding, Godot reactivates his golden sword's power and starts destroying the Duke's servants. Godot successfully destroys the Duke's divinities of Osiris and Apollo, but it's still insufficient. He uses the weather deity's abilities and launches Godot through the air, who impacts against a wall. Then, Sasha starts attacking him with lightning bolts that fall from the sky, and Godot starts dodging them. When the girls try to help them, Sasha repels them and lets them know that it is a battle between kings, so he will not let them interfere. He again launches a lightning against them, but he stops it with his sword. However, the power is so strong that the sword flies away. When Sasha attacks him again, Godot uses one of his avatars with which he can control lightning as well, and strikes back at the Duke. Erica realizes that this is the first time she has seen that avatar, which is that of the goat, who summons lightning and binds people's hearts together. This upsets the Duke, who prepares his final blow. But before using it, the girls approach Godot and give him their power. Thanks to the incredible power, as well as the assistance of all the servants that the Duke had at his disposal, Godot is able to halt his attack with ease. Due to that immense power, he hurls a massive lightning bolt at Sasha, which Sasha is unable to deflect. When it finally appears that the Duke has been defeated, he suddenly gets back on his feet and informs Godot that the third round is just about to commence, right before launching another attack. As dawn begins to break over the city, this allows Godot to win the game proposed by the Thousand Duo. He has no choice but to give Godot as the winner, and after telling her that they will fight again, he disappears behind a whirlwind. Suddenly, Yuri faints, and Godot catches her. So Liliana explains that the goat not only absorbs people's will, but also their life force. Seeing this situation, Erica pretends to feel bad too. But as soon as Godot approaches her, she embraces him and starts kissing Yusand, while Yuri tries to stop them. When school vacations start, Erica suggests to Godot to travel together. They spend days at the beach, despite Godot feeling uneasy with the girls' teasing. At night, Godot leaves the place where they stay and encounters Athena. He asks why she's there, and Athena says he entered her territory. She explains to him that she does not wish to fight with him, as she knows he is not in his best shape, and then mentions to him that a great battle is coming. For this reason, she decided to see him and wants them to play a little, so she asks him to accompany her. They both leave by boat, and when Godot asks her where they are going, she comments that she is just letting the wind guide them. They head towards Naples, from where a beam of green light streams up into the sky. In another scene, we are shown that it was Salvatore who went to that town specifically to search for the seal of the goddess Hera, and ended up destroying it, even though Liliana had warned him not to. After the seal was broken, a large dragon emerged from the location and began flying around the area. Meanwhile, Athena and Godot manage to spot the creature in the distance, and she informs him that the dragon is actually a divine beast. But that's not all. She also explains that a troublesome god has descended and has drawn that power towards them. Liliana starts to follow the dragon, but sees that it is knocked out of the air, and so she runs to see what has happened. When she gets to where it is, she meets a god, who introduces himself as Perseus, the legendary dragon slayer. He prepares to attack the dragon, but Liliana asks him not to, since the beast was born from the energy of the earth. For this reason, if he kills it, there is a chance that the earth's vitality will wither away. Despite the request, Perseus refuses, as slaying dragons is his duty by nature, and he won't let anyone stop him. Perseus attacks the dragon, wounding it, but Athena appears and halts his final blow. Liliana sees Athena and turns to Godot, complaining for bringing the goddess there. He explains to her that it wasn't his fault. On the contrary, Athena was the one who led him to that place. Athena tells Perseus that it saddens her to see a god who finds it productive to torment a simple drama. She then absorbs the dragon's power and prepares to fight Perseus, but they are interrupted by Godot, who asks them not to fight in that place. Perseus, upon seeing him, realizes that he is no ordinary human, and that he is a god killer, so he is also their enemy. Athena takes advantage of the situation to withdraw from the battle and let Perseus fight Godot, as she also wanted to entertain him more. Liliana uses her power to take Godou and escape as far as possible, but he asks her if he won't destroy Ilus. She explains that Perseus's fighting spirit is focused on fighting him, so they must buy some time. When they are safe, Godou asks her why this is happening, and she tells him what Salvatore did. Liliana makes him see that they must create a plan to get rid of Perseus as soon as possible. But Godou explains that to use his power of the golden swords, he needs to know a lot about the god he is facing. He tells him that he can use his magic to provide him with all the information, but Godou clarifies that normal magic cannot be used on the Campione. He mentions that there is a way, but he can't ask her to do it. But at Liliana's insistence, he tells her that the only way is by kissing. Upon hearing this, Liliana blushes deeply, as she never thought this might be the solution. Suddenly, Perseus discovers them, arriving at the place where they are floating in glue. Liliana makes it clear to him that, even though she cannot act boldly and kiss him, she is determined to fight alongside him against Perseus. She attempts to attack Perseus, but he effortlessly stops her assault. Consequently, Godou decides to use the boar avatar to launch an attack on him. Although he manages to use this opportunity to attempt an escape with Liliana, Perseus is quick to follow them. With Pegasus, when he is close to them, he uses an ability to seal Godou's divine right. Perseus starts attacking them with his bow, so Godou tries to use his hunting bird avatar to flee. However, after advancing a little, Perseus manages to also seal this power, and with an accurate arrow, he manages to pierce Godou in the chest. Despite having defeated him, Perseus is still uneasy and tries to attack him again, but Liliana intervenes. She asks him not to desecrate Godou's body, but despite this, Perseus is determined to shoot another arrow. At that instant, Athena appears behind Perseus's back and attacks him. She asks him to let Godou rest so that he can recover. Perseus finds this information very interesting and so he leaves, but not before mentioning that when Godou recovers, they will meet again to have another battle. After a while, Godou wakes up in a bed, and next to him is Liliana, who complains to him for not having told her that he could revive. She tells him that she feels partly guilty, because if she had kissed him before the fight, she would have been able to beat him by having knowledge of Perseus. Suddenly they are interrupted by Charon, who is an apprentice witch of the Black Bronze Cross. He mentions to Godou that Liliana was taking care of her all night, and then tells her that he is waiting for her to come to him. Have stopped working, and because of this, they can't communicate with Godou. After Godou clears things up with Liliana, they start to search for a way to Even though Liliana makes an effort to search for clues about why Perseus has the ability to seal Godou's divine rights, they are unable to find any clear answers. Because of this, Godou starts to question Erica's whereabouts and why he can't seem to reach her. This situation leads Charon to ask Godou to give them some privacy, and she then attempts to persuade Liliana to seize the chance she has. With the other girls absent, Liliana could win Godou's heart and persuade him to join the Bronze Cross, Black. Liliana blushes as she imagines all of this, but she flees the place, saying she needs to rest. Meanwhile, Godou finds himself on the balcony, where he discovers a book. Although it's in a different language, he can read it thanks to what he learned from Erica. He realizes it's a love story, and wonders about the identity of the author. At that moment, Liliana appears behind him, and upon realizing he read her book, she is overwhelmed with shame and starts to threaten him, all to the detriment of his life. This is because this is her most precious secret, and Godou, seeing her attitude, begins to apologize to her so that she does not hurt him. At that moment, they are interrupted by Athena, who appears at his side because she wanted to see if Godou had recovered completely. He takes advantage of the moment to ask her what she knows about Perseus and why he can seal his powers. Although at first Athena refuses to answer him, she changes her mind and asks him to do something for her in return. As Godou is on the verge of accepting, Liliana interrupts him and responds to Athena, saying that they cannot agree to this proposal. Athena then tells them that without giving her something in return, she cannot provide them with any information. However, she mentions that if they reconsider, they can come find her. After the encounter, the boys leave, and as they walk, Godou questions Liliana about her decision not to accept the proposal. She explains to him that acting so hastily could lead to more complications, as accepting a heretic god's proposal without careful consideration might be disastrous. That night they both return to look for more clues about Perseus, but Liliana cannot concentrate as she is thinking fantasies about Godot. So she decides to give Godot a tea with sleeping pills, and then go to Athena to offer her favors in exchange for Perseus's information. Arriving at Athena's place, Liliana offers to fight by her side in exchange for her knowledge about Perseus. After Athena recites a few words of power, she causes Liliana to have a vision about Perseus. But she appears. He comes to her side and makes it clear to her that he does not yet know whether he will let her go with what he knows now, or punish her for her irreverence against a god. Suddenly, Godot appears and asks him not to do anything to Liliana, and after offering to fight her, he ends up dissuading her. For this reason, Athena gives them more information about Perseus and Liliana, then realizes that he is not a Greek god. Before leaving, Athena reminds Godot that the next time they will see each other will be after her battle with Perseus is over. In another scene, we see that Salvatore used his divine powers to disable the technology on the island where the girls are located. He then arrives there to tie them up, ensuring they don't interfere in Godot's battle. By fighting alone, Godot will gain strength. Before Godot returns to rest, he gets a message from Perseus, who invites him to a duel in the most iconic spot of the town. Godot attends the square where Perseus summoned him, and as soon as he arrives, he notices that Perseus has gathered a large number of people to attract attention. After a few words to the public, both begin the battle in front of everyone, so Godot uses the avatar of the bull to attack him. In another scene we are shown that before going to battle, Karen tried to convince Liliana to transmit the knowledge to Godot through a kiss. However, embarrassment did not let her accept. For this reason, Godot escaped to go alone to the battle, but before arriving, Liliana caught up with him and asked him why, if he wants to win the fight, he does not order him to transmit his knowledge with a kiss, something he refuses to do, since he does not want to be like the other kings, and does not want to act with her the way the Duke did. Back to the fight, Godot tries to attack Perseus with his abilities, but it is use and easily avoids them. He then uses his abilities to seal Godot's powers, and then fires an arrow at him with great precision. Godot is blown away by the force of the arrow, and crashes into a building, so Liliana, who watches him from afar, runs to help him. When she reaches him, she tells him that nothing happened to him, since he was able to cover himself with his arm. He explains that even though his powers have been sealed, he will not give up on winning the battle against the Usen people. Seeing his bravery, Liliana decides to help him by sharing her knowledge and runs to him to kiss him. After a passionate kiss, she is able to use her power to share her knowledge of Perseus with him. When he has all the knowledge, Godot charges back at Perseus using his golden sword's ability and makes it clear to him that he will now fight for real. Perseus begins to attack him, but he fights back, and as he recites his words of power, he tells the story of Perseus. This one understood that he is not a Greek god, but the ancient Roman god named Mithra, who is the deity of the sun. Godot summons a giant golden sword, and with it attacks Perseus, who defends himself with a shot from his bow. But Godot's power is so strong that he ends up eliminating the power of Mithra that resides in Perseus's bow. Perseus congratulates him for his achievement, but then invokes a sword and begins to attack him, managing to wound him. However, by removing Mithra's powers, Godot is able to use his avatars again and respond to Perseus's attack. Liliana runs to check on Godot, but at that moment Perseus arrives and, seeing her intentions to defend him, uses his powers to control her. Perseus makes her start attacking Godot with his sword, so he dodges her attacks. While trying to make her wake up from her trance, she summons a bow, and when she is about to shoot, Godot shouts. She alters her name and shifts her direction, causing one of the arrows to strike Perseus. Meanwhile, Godot requests Liliana to launch another attack on Perseus with the bow, while he creates a diversion. They resume their battle, and during a moment of distraction, Liliana successfully strikes Perseus with an arrow, pinning him to a column. Before Perseus can free himself, Godot strikes him again to immobilize him, and then employs the boar avatar to launch an attack. Thanks to this attack, Godot manages to defeat Perseus, but after using so many skills together, he falls down fainting. Liliana runs to help him, and when she sees him on the floor, she tries to cure him by giving him a kiss, but before doing so, Athena appears and interrupts her. She congratulates him for winning the battle, and without hesitation, 1S approaches Godu to heal him, giving him a kiss. Something that leaves Liliana surprised since she could not do it. And before Athena leaves, she lets him know that she will come back to see him again. In another scene, we are shown that despite the great attack, Perseus managed to survive. But behind his back appears a girl similar to Athena. She attacks him and mentions that she is the snake that opposes the sky, so then she eliminates him by eating him. After a few days, the boys return to school, and while they are at lunch, Shizuka complains to Godu for having brought another girl after their vacation. Because after what happened, Liliana went with the boys to Japan and also started to go back to school. Godot and Erika both attend the same school for their studies. After school, Godot accompanies Liliana to the tea club. There, he discovers Yuri with another girl named Sveitausendine. She introduces herself as Anna Seichwin. While bowing, she expresses that she is honored to have the chance to work with him as his new servant, if he wishes. Godot responds by saying he accepts her proposal and appreciates her courtesy. However, at that moment, Anna stands up and reveals it was merely a joke, as she knows better than to speak to him in such a manner, and she simply wanted to greet him, considering that she was chosen to be his bride. Standing beside Yuri, Godu asks who decided that she would become his wife. Ian explains to her that it's an imposition, but it doesn't necessarily have to be official, since he is aware she has 3 lovers. This confuses Godu, who clarifies that it's not true, but Ina mentions Yuri, Erika, and Liliana. He responds that they are merely his friends, but then he realizes that this response might have upset the girls. Liliana interrupts them and asks Anna why she wants to disturb her master's peaceful life, and Anna replies that she just wanted to clear things up. Suddenly, Erika appears, and Anna lets her know that she is happy to see the leading candidate to be Godot's wife, so she asks her to go and talk somewhere else. Erika agrees and tells the guys that they will only talk politics to keep them calm. After the conversation ends, the boys gather outside the school. Godot invites them to lunch at his house, but neither of them accepts. The following day, while at school, Erika observes a strange attitude in both Liliana and John. Because of this, she decides to meet with Godu to question him and figure out what has happened. When he explains the situation to her, she invites him on a date, and he, considering everything that has happened, decides to accept. That evening, while Erika is getting ready for the date, she plans something to help the girls work things out with Godot. She then goes on the date with Godot, and they spend the afternoon sharing time together. But at the end of the afternoon, she mentions to him that there is one more place she wants to go. She takes him to the place where they achieved their first victory together, and makes him see that it is not right to see those who helped him win those battles as just a few friends. For if he is careless in many things, at least, I should tell the girls what they want to hear. Godu apologizes and asks if she's okay with him being careless and indiscreet. She responds that when she accepted his love, she stopped worrying about words, but knows she'll be the only one to hear a serenade from a champion. Just then, Ina appears and apologizes to Godu for interrupting, but mentions he had plans with Erika. He is surprised to hear this, and asks her what she means, so Anna clarifies that she has a battle against Erika. Erika tells Godot that this is not true, but clarifies that it will be a battle where men cannot intervene. On the other hand, Yuri, who was in his temple with Liliana, manages to see a vision about him, and they both run out to look for them. Anna and Erika start their fight, so Godu asks them what is the reason for this battle. Erika tells him that the fight is because Ina wants to eliminate her and make her the future wife of the king. Ina explains to him that although it is not important to him, a Japanese king should have Japanese mistresses. Despite this, when they try to attack each other again, Godu steps in between the two to ask them to stop the fight. He makes it clear that he will not let anyone get hurt if it is not necessary, and asks them to put away their swords. However, in response to Alex's reaction, she mentions that losing the battle is now the last thing she wants. She then begins channeling a divine power through her entire body. Erika tells Godot that this is known as Advent Mage, and it's an even rarer power than Yuri's. Ina attempts to attack Erika once more, but Godot intervenes, stopping her by taking her sword. This action causes a portal to open in the ground, and Godot gets sucked through it, which leaves Erika feeling quite upset. She attacks Anna and asks her where Godot has gone, but Anna replies that maybe it was her grandfather who took him somewhere in the intermediate world. Ina tells her that her grandfather was called Haya Suzanu Wonomikoto, and his sword is named Amano Murakumo. Erika remembers that the intermediate world is the border between life and death, so she knows that Godou is still there. For this reason, she decides to enter the portal that was created by Ina's sword, and she follows her to the intermediate world. Godou appears in a strange world, somewhat dizzy and disoriented. But as he walks, he finds a house from which a voice comes out and asks him to enter. When he enters, he meets a man who tells him that everyone calls him Haya Susano Wano Mikoto, and he is Ina's guardian inside the intermediate world. Ina and Erika continue to fight, but the latter looks increasingly exhausted. This makes Ina show superiority, and with this she also starts to win the fight. Meanwhile, Susano tells Godou that he is not a heretic god, as he got tired of wandering aimlessly on the surface. Because of this, he retired to the intermediate world, and Godou asks him what he means by that. Susano comments to him that it is something he should have heard being a god-killer, as he believes his guardian Pandora must have summoned him to. When Godou hears the name, vague memories come to his mind, but he suffers from a headache. Susano explains to her that maybe she didn't take him to the intermediate world properly, and that's why he has trouble remembering it. Godou begins to gather many resources from the intermediate world, and suddenly activates the power of his golden sword. He asks him where Erika is, and Susano replies that she is having fun with him. Why, while showing him an image of what is happening, comments that Ina was possessed by the sword Ama no Murakumo. Godou, seeing that she can end Erika's life, threatens Susano and asks him to tell him where they are, so he can go save Erika and also Ina. Susano comments to him that to go where she is, he just has to think about her, if she will be there in an instant, but first they both have to take care of something. Erika falls without strength to continue fighting, when suddenly she sees that the sword Ama no Mura begins to merge with Ina and transforms. Meanwhile, Liliana and Yuri keep looking for the boys. When they arrive at the place where the boys were last seen, they can't find them anywhere. At that moment, Yuri has a vision and understands that the boys are in the intermediate world, but he doesn't know how to rescue them from there. Just then, Amikazu shows up and tells them he can assist in bringing Godou back, because unusual events are occurring in the Y world. Back in the intermediate world, Anna attempts to attack Erika once more, but Godou suddenly appears at that moment and defends her. Godou asks who she is, and Anna replies that she is Amano Murakumo, as that body is now his. He attempts to attack Godou, but Godou activates his golden sword's power, having the necessary knowledge about Murakumo. Murakumo realizes Godou uses words of power to cut a god, and noticing Ina's body was damaged, decides to escape through a portal. Godou tries to stop him, but Murakumo mentions that he should worry about Erika. Godou realizes that she is very weak, and comments that they should go to Susano's house, but she tells him that it is a bad idea to visit a god without his sword. Godou listens to Mizu and carries her and then tries to transport himself to Susano's house, but after several attempts he fails to get to the right place. Yusand, seeing that Erika is even weaker, cannot transport again, and she comments that she can't take it anymore. So he asks her for a kiss before dying. She makes him see that in this situation, the only thing she wants is a kiss from the person she loves, but Godou reproaches her for continuing to say that even in this situation. But Erika clarifies that she is not lying, because he is the person she really loves, and she knows this since the first time she saw him. This causes Godou to begin kissing her passionately, filled with the determination that he doesn't want to lose. With this resolve, he successfully activates the teenager's avatar, the only one he hadn't yet used. This newfound power allows him to heal Erika, but to do so, he needs to transfer the power into her, leading him to kiss her more intensely until she is fully healed. Meanwhile, in another scene, we witness Yuri and Liliana attempting to open a portal in hopes of rescuing the kids. However, just as they are about to succeed, Athena interrupts them, she evades him by launching an attack on them. Back in the in-between world, Murakumo, now in a different form, encounters the boys. When Godou steps up to face him, Erika insists on handling it herself. Despite Godou's concern, she reassures him that she's fine and can now fight, having received his divine protection. At that moment, Erika strikes Murakumo, wielding a new power and successfully injuring him. Murakuma charges at Godou once more, but Erika steps in to protect him. Godou seizes the chance to use an avatar to appear beside Murakuma. He successfully pulls Ina from Murakuma's body, causing them both to fall. As Godou tries to rise, he notices Ina is naked on him. Both feel embarrassed, But Ina uses magic to dress herself, and then thanks Godu for rescuing her. Erika requests that they first focus on defeating Murakumo. But just then, they hear a loud roar, and when they look up at the sky, they notice a crack. All of a sudden, everyone appears back in the normal world, and witnesses Murakumo being absorbed from behind. However, just below her, the real Athena emerges, leading Godu to understand that the one who absorbed Murakumo was Metis. Liliana then asks Godu if he means Metis, who was Zeus's first wife and Athena's mother. Godu answers yes, because in the intermediate world Susanoo told him about her, and also that she is a snake goddess. These are goddesses who control the underworld, as they are also gods of death and darkness, so their mission is to absorb the sky and send everything into darkness. At that moment, Yuri realizes that it was not Athena of the prophecy, but Metis, because if she gets her true form, she will lead the world to darkness. Metis calls forth the Murakumo sword and attacks Godu, but Athena rescues him just in time. Erika urges Godu to escape with Athena, warning that if Metis absorbs her, the world will end. Godu refuses, wanting to fight Metis, but Erika reminds him he's already used the Golden Sword's power and needs to recover before battling. As Godu hesitates, Erika, Liliana, and Anna insist he leave while they confront Metis. At that very moment, Amakasu arrives in the car and asks him to get in to help them escape. Godu makes the difficult decision to leave with Athena, and as he waits for Yuri to enter the vehicle, she unexpectedly closes the door, telling him that he can't escape, leaving the girls behind. The girls start fighting back to give Godu and Athena more time to make their escape. Amakasu then tells Godu that they will head to Mount Fuji, as there is a temple there with protective powers that might help them hide their presence more effectively. Athena asks them if Metis was herself, or maybe she is the snake, since she doesn't remember anything. Amakasu explains to them that a part of Athena resides in the Gorgoneon and took on the appearance of her mother, and that is what they are calling me. She wishes to absorb everything and bring destruction to the world, but to achieve that she needs to merge with Athena. For this reason she believes that if Athena cannot remember anything, it is because Metis took her memories along with her powers. He is having a conversation with Athena, when all of a sudden, Metis finds them and launches an attack from a distance. Godu quickly dodges the attack, saving Athena, and then informs Metis that he is a pacifist. He assures Metis that if he liberates the world from darkness and returns inside Athena, he will not be Usand. Metis firmly states that Athena will join her, as her life belongs to him. Godu responds that if this is her decision, then they will indeed fight, because she is choosing to save her friend. Metis starts to attack him, and Godu attempts to use his avatars to fight back against her. However, these powers are insufficient to defeat her. After enduring several attacks from Metis, Godu is injured, and when Athena tries to assist him, he becomes even more wounded. Athena seizes a chance to grab Metis' weapon to stop her from moving, and she urges Godu to attack. Godu then uses one of his avatars to strike Metis directly, and just before the attack lands, he asks Athena to dodge out of the way. The effort is insufficient because it did not cause any damage to Metis, who dissipates the fire and then absorbs Athena, which releases her true form. Godu lets her know that he does not care about the prophecies, and that he will not give up until he defeats. Suddenly, the girls appear at his side, and Yuri kisses him to share his knowledge about Metis. Then it is Ina who kisses him to share her knowledge, and with this, Godu activates the power of the golden swords. Godu is able to take the Murakumo sword from Metis, and returns it to its owner. This annoys Metis, and he attacks them with his power, but Erika and Liliana join their powers to repel the attack. Liliana approaches Godu to kiss him, and with the swords change from golden to silver, so she attacks Metis again. Metis covers herself with a divine protection, but is destroyed thanks to Godu's power. He starts to recite the words of power, telling Metis' story, and sends the swords to attack her again. Metis tries to block them with a divine barrier, but it fails. Erika tells Godu they don't need more knowledge, just pure love, and kisses him. This empowers Godu, and he attacks Metis again, separating her from Athena. When only Metis is left, Godu asks the girls to lend him their strength, and uses the goat avatar to attack her. He then uses the boar avatar to finish her off, but before she is hit, Metis reacts and destroys the avatar. She sees Athena on the ground and flies towards her to absorb her again, but Godot runs to try to save her. Before she gets there, a Godot avatar is activated and Athena wakes up, so she mentions to him that it took too long and then kisses him. With this newfound knowledge, Godot gains the final insight he needed to defeat Métis. Together, they both craft a golden scythe, which they use to attack Métis and successfully defeat her. As a result, the world returns to its normal state, and Athena reabsorbs Métis. About a month after this incident, Shizuka reprimands Godot for having to divide his time among 4 girls. However, when he attempts to explain the situation to her, she ultimately has no choice but to accept that they are all indeed with him. That's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Find more summaries here. Support by subscribing and hitting the bell for updates. I'm Anison. See you next time.